My dog is right there, so if you hear any weird grunting, that's him wanting attention. Hi friends! Welcome to Organic True Crime with Sydney Hopes, where I talk about true crime stories and sometimes spooky stories, but this month I'm focusing on female killers. And today we will be talking about Karla Faye Tucker. I chose this one because I really don't know how to feel about it, and I want to know what other people think because I really struggle with this one. So let's just start off. In November of 1959, Karla Faye Tucker was born. Give my dog a minute. Karla Tucker was born to Larry and Carolyn Tucker in Houston, Texas. Karla grew up in a very troubled situation with her parents, and she and her sister actually started smoking cigarettes by the time Karla was 8 years old. I'm not sure if it was an older or a younger sister, but by the time she was 8 years old. And then in 1969, Karla's parents got divorced. Carolyn and Larry separated. At this point, Karla was 10 years old, and she actually found out during the divorce that her mother had had an affair and that Larry, the person she had grown up with as her father, was not her actual father. Things did not get better for Karla after her parents separated. She stayed with her mother, and her mother was a drug addict, and by the time Karla was 12 years old, she also started doing drugs. And in 1973, when Karla was 14 years old, she dropped out of school and became a groupie with her mother. They followed the Allman Brothers Band, the Marshall Tucker Band. I had not heard of them, sorry, I did not remember that one. And the Eagles. And during this time, Karla's mother taught her how to be a sex worker. In 1975, Karla got married to a man named Stephen Griffith. He was a mechanic, but this marriage did not last very long. The couple separated pretty quickly. In 1979, Karla's mother died from complications from her extended drug abuse. And after this, Karla started hanging out with groups of bikers, I guess. And at some point in 1980, Karla met a couple named Sean and Jerry Lynn Dean. And through them, she was introduced to a man named Danny Garrett. And eventually, Sean and Jerry Lynn ended up getting a divorce and separating, which brings us to June of 1983 when Karla was 22 years old. Karla and Danny spent a weekend on a bender. Karla eventually came out and gave a whole list of all the drugs that they were on, but I'm not going to go into it. It was a lot, she and Danny, for the whole weekend. And during this time, they decided that they were going to, with a friend, steal Jerry Lynn Dean's motorcycle. Now, when Sean was still living in the apartment before she and Jerry separated, she lost a set of keys to the apartment, and Karla found them, but she never told Sean, and she just held on to them. So she had a set of keys to the apartment already. So Karla and Dean met with their friend James Lee Brandt. Sorry, really not good with names. And they went to Jerry Lynn Dean's apartment. When they got to the apartment, James went to go look for Jerry's car, I guess, I don't know. He said he went to go look for Jerry's car. I'm not sure why. And Danny and Karla entered the apartment. They went into Jerry Lynn Dean's bedroom and found him asleep in his bed, so Karla sat on him to hold him there. But he fought back, so Danny, using a hammer that he just found in Jerry's bedroom, starts hitting Jerry over the head with it until he stops fighting back. And then he leaves and goes to find James to start, I guess they were taking apart the motorcycle and carrying parts out. So he went to go help James with that and left Karla to watch Jerry. And because of his injuries from the hammer attack, Jerry's breathing passages started filling up with fluid, and he started making like a gurgling sound. And Karla, who, as a reminder, had been doing a lot of drugs all weekend, said that the sound just freaked her out and she had to make it stop. and she happened to find a pickaxe. There are some details in the story that are kind of like they just find all these tools, but again, everyone involved was on a lot of drugs at the time, so some of the details are kind of hard to... Anyway, she finds a pickaxe and she attacks Jerry Lynn Dean with it. And Danny comes back to the room and sees what's happening, and he takes the pickaxe, and he is the one that actually kills Jerry at this time. Then he leaves and goes back to the robbery and leaves Karla in the room with the body. And this is when Karla realizes that there is another person in the room. She notices that there is a woman hiding under the covers pressed against the wall in Jerry's bed. This woman, her name was Deborah Thornton. She had just happened to have gotten in a fight with her husband that night and decided to go to a party where she met Jerry Lynn Dean, and she went home with him. And that is why she was there. And unfortunately, Danny came back to the room and saw Karla and Deborah fighting, so he also attacked her with the pickaxe and killed her. That one's tough. Even more, I don't know. They knew the other guy and it was a plan, but just this woman shouldn't have. She just happened to be there, and they're both very unfortunate, but that part's just, I don't know, hard. None of it needed to happen at all, but. The next morning, Jerry was supposed to give his coworker Gregory a ride to work, but when Jerry didn't show up, Gregory went to his apartment where he was the one to discover their bodies. And again, this was the next morning. And just 5 weeks later, Danny and Karla were both arrested. Karla Tucker and Daniel Garrett were tried separately for the murders. For Karla's trial, she had a female judge and mostly female jurors, which I thought was interesting, seeing as how it comes out. Anyway, she had no witnesses, and it only took the jury 70 minutes to deliberate to come back and say that she was guilty. During the sentencing, a psychiatrist evaluated Karla, and he went in front of the jury and he explained that, for one, Karla had been addicted to heroin since she was 10 years old. My dog's back to his grunting now, sorry. The psychiatrist also explained Karla's state of mind on that night. He explained that she had not slept in 3 days, and she had spent that entire time drinking and doing drugs. The psychiatrist also explained that Karla didn't gain anything from the killing. She didn't find any pleasure from it, and she didn't plan them. It wasn't like she killed them just to kill someone, you know. She just, in that moment, panicked, and I don't know. Karla was quoted as saying that she never saw bodies. She never saw any holes or any blood because of the drug she was on. She doesn't even remember seeing anyone be hurt. So that kind of gives you an idea of where she was when that happened. After 3 hours of deliberation, the jury came back and suggested that Karla be given the death sentence, and she was. And Daniel Garrett was also given the death sentence for the murders. In 1993, Danny died of liver cancer while still on death row, or liver disease, while still on death row. While in jail, Karla became a Christian. She found God, and in 1995, she actually married the prison minister. His name was Dana Brown. In 1998, after 14 years of being on death row and after several rejected appeals, Karla Faye Tucker was flown to Huntsville for her execution. Some places say that she denied her final meal, and some places say that she ate a salad, a banana, and a peach. I'm not sure. I don't know why, I just like to include the final meals. I always find that really interesting. And I'm going to read her last words. They were, "Yes, sir, I would like to say to all of you, the Thornton family and Jerry Dean's family, that I am so sorry. I hope that God will give you peace with this." Then she turns to her husband and says, "Baby, I love you. Everybody has been so good to me. I love all of you very much. I'm going to be face to face with Jesus now. Warden Badgett, thank you all so much. You have been so good to me. I love all of you very much. I will see you all when you get there. I will wait for you." Also, I learned that there's no time limit on your final words. I thought that was interesting because most that I read, I feel like are only a couple sentences, but they don't actually give you a time limit. Anyway, and then at 39 years old, Karla Faye Tucker was given the lethal injection. So what bothers me about this one is Karla does, after her trial, fully admits to killing people. She takes responsibility for it, and she doesn't ever try to deny that or even get out of being punished for it. I just don't know if I agree that she deserved the death sentence. I have a tough time with the death sentence all the time, but in this case, I truly don't think that if she was in her right state of mind, she would have made the same decisions. And I do fully think that she deserves to be punished and she did something wrong, and she admitted that, and she did say that too. I just don't know if the punishment should have been. Also, she wasn't actually the one that killed either person either. I don't know. This one just really, really gets me. And a lot of people have talked about this case, that everything I found is people saying that she didn't deserve the death sentence. And just from, I don't know, I don't want to give her excuses. I don't want to say like because of her background, she made bad decisions, because there is no excuse for killing someone that's more than a bad decision. But I wonder if the same thing would have happened, if things would have gone the same way, if drugs hadn't been involved. I don't know. I have a really, really tough time with that one. But I did also find it very interesting, and I hope you did too. Please let me know what you think about it, because I don't know what to think about it. So let me know where you are on this. Thank you so much for joining me. And River, he's here to comfort me for this tough one. We'll see you guys later. Bye.